What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with another video, and it's time for AEW's Go Home Dynamite show before Forbidden Door. What surprises should fans expect? Join us now as we look at this week's edition of Dynamite, as well as the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including Triple H returns to the Performance Center, great news on Big E, Jim Ross is cancer-free, Rhea Ripley reveals her injury, Brock Lesnar breaks character after SmackDown, and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Also check out Wrestlelamia.co.uk and our non-wrestling channel, Incredible. Now, as always, we won't recap the matches, but just look at the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. As always, we start off with the good as number 1, Christian's con. Everything came together as Christian Cage revealed he's been playing Jungle Boy ever since the Jurassic Express star eliminated from the Casino Battle Royal last year. Christian played the heel to perfection as he blamed his actions on the fans for cheering his elimination and of course Jungle Boy for eliminating him. Christian went all in on his heel promo, telling Jungle Boy he knew that the young star looked up to him as a father, but that Jungle Boy already has a father and he's dead. Cage even made sure to mention that Jungle Boy's mom had her eye on him, covering all the bases for a classic heel promo. But that wasn't the end of things, as Luchasaurus showed up to confront Cage, only for Christian to seemingly fast talk his way out of a beatdown, telling Luchasaurus he's like a son to him. Number 2, Mox is money on the microphone. Another money microphone moment from Moxley, as John promised to remind the fans of all he can do, both win Sunday's match against Hiroshi Tanahashi and next week's Blood and Guts bout. John Moxley's promos may seem simplistic, as he basically talks about fighting, but like Stone Cold Steve Austin, his authenticity takes it to the next level. Number 3, a string of good segments. Now, we've discussed Dynamite's effective use of promos, interviews and backstage segments to forward storylines, and last night was business as usual, whether it was Jade Cargill referencing Red Velvet's injury and the search for a new baddie, Toni Storm's quest for the AEW Women's Championship, or any of the build for the pay-per-view and next week's Blood and Guts special. Number 4, the Bullet Club is back. AEW certainly sweetened the pot for Forbidden Door as the Young Bucks announced a Bullet Club reunion as they team with the Bullet Club members against Darby Allin, Sting, Shingo, Takagi and Hiromu Takahashi this Sunday. Could this lead to more appearances by the Bullet Club in AEW? Number 5, a brawl to end it all. A wild brawl to end the show. This is one trope that we never get tired with, and it's particularly perfect for building pay-per-views. Even better, reports are coming in that the brawl continued after the show went off the air, giving the fans an extra treat. Number 6, no brawl, no problem. AEW also went the opposite direction as Moxley and Tanahashi, who will wrestle for the interim AEW World Championship at Forbidden Door, stared each other down after they won their match. The contrast was unbelievable as Moxley and Tanahashi stood tall in the ring while outside all hell was breaking loose. And hella hype for pay-per-view. AEW stepped up with hyping Forbidden Door, showcasing the Japanese wrestlers set to compete, while also reminding the AEW Galaxy, trademark copyrighted by Chris Jericho, why they should order the pay-per-view. New Japan Pro Wrestling's workers, with one exception, finally got a chance to shine, something AEW should have been doing for the last few weeks. It'll be interesting to see how well the pay-per-view does, not only because it's being held just a month after Double or Nothing, but because it features a number of non-AEW stars. That was the good. What about the bad? Is number 1, why is Will Ospreay losing? Now, although AEW did a better job promoting Forbidden Door this week, its bonkers booking of Will Ospreay has got to have casual fans wondering what the big deal is. He shouldn't be losing matches before Forbidden Door, even tag team matches. Last night's loss was unnecessary. AEW's booking is usually solid, but not in this instance. Number 2, Jericho looking sloppy. Chris Jericho looked slow and sloppy last night. As much as we appreciate Jericho's contributions to the industry, something was off last night. Was it illness, injury, the ravages of time? If this was anything more than a bad night, the Wizard needs to consider slowing things down, transitioning into limited appearances so he can maximize the matches he works in. Otherwise, it may be time for Jericho to step away from the ring. Now, there was nothing downright ugly about the Go Home Dynamite, as AEW hyped the matches going into Sunday's pay-per-view, while also building things up for next week's Blood and Guts special. They found a way to generate interest in the pay-per-view and next week's Dynamite without taking away the build for either show. What do you guys think of Dynamite this week? Let us know in the comments down below. Now let's move on to the news. Our first story looks at Big E's good news. The top of the news today is an encouraging report from Big E concerning the devastating neck injury he suffered earlier this year. After a fan tweeted her concern about Big E's physical condition, the former champion uploaded a video showing he's regained mobility with his neck. This is great news for Big E and his legions of fans. Next up, Triple H returns to the Performance Center. Triple H's return to the Performance Center, at least according to Post Wrestling's John Pollock, who tweeted, "According to multiple sources, Paul Levesque was in Orlando today and spoke at the Performance Center. Of the people I heard from, Levesque stated he's back. It is unknown what that entails, but that was the wording I was given. A wrestling cerebral assassin was forced to take time off from his role in NXT last September when he suffered a life-threatening cardiac incident." Wrestling News' Paul Davis added, "It's unclear what that means, but if he's back running NXT, then that would be a huge morale booster, as the talent loved working with him." It's interesting that Triple H has returned to the Performance Center following his wife Stephanie McMahon's appointment as interim WWE CEO and chairwoman. Considering the potential gravity of the WWE's hush money scandal, people are going to scrutinize every move in the WWE regardless of whether it's intentional or a coincidence. Next up, a former WWE superstar replacing Bryan Danielson at Forbidden Door. As AEW continues to deal with the rash of injuries, keeping some of its top stars from competing at Sunday's Forbidden Door, there's speculation on who will take Bryan Danielson's place against Zack Sabre Jr. While there are a number of wrestlers in and out of AEW, Meltzer discussed who he thinks will show up on Sunday. I think the betting line guy is Claudio Castagnoli. I don't know that as a fact. I mean, the way Bryan Danielson talks sounded to me like the way he talks about Claudio. So Claudio's in AEW. I guess if it is him. There are possibilities it's someone else, but I can't think of anyone else that would be in the spot that's available right now where people wouldn't crap on it. And you know Tony Khan doesn't want people to crap on his mystery guys. It's just one of those unfortunate things. You know, he's out. Who do you guys think AEW will have Sabre wrestle? Next up, Jim Ross cancer-free. And there were complications for Jim Ross as JR updated the fans on his Grilling JR podcast about how he's doing since receiving treatment for skin cancer. "I got a lesion on my ankle the size of an orange. It's ugly and grotesque. I got a text today from my oncologist. The good news is I don't have skin cancer any longer, but the wound is not healed and it's terribly painful. I'm going back to see my doctor. He's got me on some strong antibiotics. I'm taking 3 of them a day, which is strong for me." The Hall of Famer announcer explained what's next for his treatment. "He's going to turn me over to a wound specialist, which I've never even heard of. So I'm going to a wound specialist to see if I can get some relief from this bad thing and expedite the healing process." Ross also described the delicacy of his situation. "Walking, standing on my feet for extended lengths of times is very challenging. Something that simplistic. I have to be careful and be smart not to bump into this wound. I have to keep things covered up and padded up so I don't advertently bump into something on that wound, which is the kiss of death. My sheets wake me up. My sheets lying on this wound when I don't have it covered is not good." Now, we're glad to hear Jim Ross is cancer-free, but we send our well wishes to him as he battled what sounds to be a painful predicament. Next up, Rhea Ripley reveals her injury. Yes, this was omitted from yesterday's news. I'm really sorry about that, but it was just an editing problem. Now, what is going on with Rhea Ripley? Well, the Nightmare answered the question after a knucklehead posted on her Instagram that she didn't look hurt, but Ripley replied, "Can't see a brain injury. Stop being incompetent and reaching at nothing." As for when Ripley will be back, Meltzer commented on the situation, noting that the WWE doesn't like to mention COVID or concussions and that he believes that it's the latter. The good news is that Meltzer doesn't believe Ripley will be gone for long. And finally, Brock Lesnar breaks character after SmackDown. And last but not least, fans may be bored with the thought of another Brock vs Roman rematch, but they still love babyface Brock. This was evident from last week's SmackDown, where Lesnar interacted with the fans after the camera stopped rolling. Cowboy Brock fist bumped the fans at ringside and generally had a good time. Lesnar has obviously been having fun ever since his 2021 return, and it shows in his appearances. But there you have it, folks. I'll look at Dynamite this week, as well as the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know. Be sure to leave your comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.